Друзья, всем привет! В 2021 году мне посчастливилось побывать на туре по территории Чернобыльской атомной электростанции. И это был один из наиболее незабываемых опытов в моей жизни. И я получил много разных эмоций, очень-очень разнообразных, я скажу так, немножко радиации, и, в принципе, было очень интересно и здорово. Я разными способами пробовал слепить видео про посещение территории Чернобыльской атомной электростанции. Ну, понимаете, проблема в том, что как бы я это все лепил, да, добавлял свои комментарии и прочее, ну, получалось не очень. Даже видео на YouTube у меня есть, и я не очень доволен результатом, то есть не получилось, как я хотел. Поэтому я решил оставить все как есть, просто вот с комментариями непосредственно гидов. Комментарии на английском языке, но это совершенно такой простой английский, который, я думаю, вы справитесь. И на самом деле все это перебивается очень интересной съемкой непосредственно местности. То есть во второй половине видео вы увидите непосредственно съемки местности, так как первые минут 15 будет поездка по зоне, ну, вернее, не по зоне, а выезд из Киева, да, проездка от Киева непосредственно до этой зоны. И там много будет рассказываться на английском языке. Вот. Можете промотать, если не интересно эта вся часть. Но если понимаете, если понятно, то, я думаю, оно того стоит. Вот. Разными способами пробовал слепить, так и сяк, получилась ерунда. А мне кажется, вот в том виде, как вот оно есть, вот в текущем, это самое то. И непосредственно посещение самой зоны. И, конечно, наверное, Припяти. Самое интересное — это Припять. Вот. Спасибо за внимание, наслаждайтесь и пишите комментарии, как вам понравилось, не понравилось. Буду рад любым отзывам. Спасибо, поехали!
First stop will be the village of Zalissa. It was biggest and probably wealthiest village of a territory. It had very rich collective farm, animal farm, some industrial objects. The population of village was about 3,000 people. It was evacuated on 4th of May 1986, and since that time it's abandoned village. So we will walk through one of the streets of the village. We will have possibility to see what will happen with anything that human gained after 35 years of abandonment, how strong can be nature and how it takes back everything that people were taking from nature for 100 years. So it will be a short stop, about 20-25 minutes we will spend in the village of Zalissa. Then you can see the picture of monument and written Chernobyl. My friends, there are two possibilities for us. It depends not on us but on the administration of exclusion zone. Because next 10 years it will be the operation of relocation of spent nuclear fuel, and while from old storage to the new storage, and when they relocate this spent nuclear fuel, 10-kilometer zone is closed for some time. So if they will relocate this fuel today, we will visit Chernobyl town in the morning. Yes, and if administration wouldn't relocate those spent nuclear fuel, we will skip Chernobyl in the morning and we'll come back there in the evening. My friends, it has a sense because the only connection between Chernobyl town and Chernobyl nuclear power plant was the name. You can see that Chernobyl is on quite big distance from Chernobyl nuclear power plant, and it was just the biggest settlement of the territory that gave the name to the power plant. It was provincial town, and if in the morning we will come there, we will see only not more than provincial town. But if we will come there in the evening, I think that we will have more emotional connection to those places that we are going to show you in Chernobyl. It was a village Lely, but now it's just a checkpoint Lely. This time it will be checkpoint between 30-kilometer zone and 10-kilometer zone. It depends on mood of officers. Would they provide check of our passports or not? It depends. I don't know in which direction birds were flying, were they boring or not, did they woke up too early or not. So we'll see. If we will be lucky and if it will be no checks there, probably it will save us 5-7 minutes. Then my friends, you can see deviation of our yellow line to the left, and this part of our tour wouldn't have direct connection with accident of Chernobyl, with radiation. This part of our tour will have connection with period of Cold War, because place we are going to visit back in time was one of the most top secret places in Soviet Union. It was called Object Chernobyl 2, and on the territory of that object was Radar Duga 1. The huge radar, the picture of it you actually can see on your small picture. But my friends, even if you have never been interested in the period of Cold War, in those tensions between Western world and Soviet world, you will be impressed at least with the dimensions of that radar. By the way, does anybody heard about radar? Raise your hand who had. Few of us. My friends, I promise you that you will be impressed. So we will spend about 40, maybe 50 minutes on the radar. Then we will go back with the same twisty road through the forest, back to the main route. And next stop will be village of Kopachi. Kopachi village is village with very tragic history. In October of 1988, it was totally destroyed. Village was on very close distance from Chernobyl nuclear power plant. It was terribly contaminated, and administration just decided to bury all the village under the ground. And now village of Kopachi is transformed into a burial site Kopachi. All the private houses are buried under the ground. Only few buildings survived there. One of them is a kindergarten of the village of Kopachi. Also a very emotional place and very famous welcoming sign. And close to the place which was called Red Forest, you can see the picture of such rusty forest. So, my friends, Red Forest was a pine forest. Back in time, it was just a young pine forest, but it's on western direction from Chernobyl nuclear power plant. And when wind was blowing and carrying those radioactive particles, trees died immediately. Radiation levels were so high that trees died immediately, and in 2 weeks they became of such red rusty color. When dosimetries, special officers who were creating maps of contamination, came to the red forest, they were shocked because levels of radiation in the red forest were even much higher than on the territory of Chernobyl nuclear power plant. Nowadays we wouldn't see that forest because it was also buried under the ground. It was terribly contaminated place. Now it's a big burial site, but even nowadays, even after 35 years and even after all those efforts of decontamination, liquidation consequences, each step in the direction of red forest increases level of radiation on our Geiger counters. I think it's good experience, and there we will have possibility to see how does radiation work. So it will be short stop there, about 10 minutes. Then Pripyat. In Pripyat we will have our longest walk for today. It will be about 1 hour and 30 minutes of walking. We will see the most famous places of Pripyat. It will be Central Square, energetic, Palace of Culture. Then we will go to the amusement park. We will see the city stadium. We will see some districts, some micro districts of Pripyat. So actually we will go Pripyat. Pripyat was very compact town, so its population was 50,000 people, but it was very, very compact. And we may say that we will cross Pripyat at first by bus and by feet from one side to another. Then we will discuss what kind of town was that, why people consider them very happy to live in Pripyat. But it was a dream of any Soviet citizen to live in a town like Pripyat. How the evacuation was provided, what was done after the evacuation, and a lot of issues that are connected to the story. And you will see some pictures how Pripyat looked like before the accident, and you will have possibility to compare it with your own eyes, yes, with the pictures that you see with your own eyes. Then we're going back through the same yellow line. Anytime we have some level of gamma radiation, it's called natural gamma level. Of course, in exclusion zone it's much higher, and this type of radiation is not a particle. This is electromagnetic wave, and nothing can stop electromagnetic wave totally. For example, if we will put a wall of 50 centimeters of lead between us and the source of gamma radiation, it will reduce the level of gamma radiation, but only 5 times. Of course, we wouldn't walk today with a wall of lead around us. There is even no need to wear hats made of foil, only if you want. Just joking. Yes. But we have 2 possibilities for ourselves to protect ourselves from gamma radiation. Those are time and distance. So the less time we will spend close to the source of gamma radiation, the less dose of gamma radiation we would receive. And the same thing, on a bigger distance we will be from the source of gamma radiation, the less dose of gamma radiation we would receive. Actually, you will see how does radiation work when we will walk somewhere close to the hotspots or close to the red forest or in Pripyat. So we will show it to you. And of course, we will have personal accumulating devices. Each of us will have such devices, and that means that. Administration of the zone also controls the level of radiation that we would receive, and also we will have, some of us will have yellow Geiger counters, those who pre-ordered them. Yes, and on those yellow Geiger counters we will have possibility to see exposure dose, so those that we receive on some place, yes, and those that was collected during the day in exclusion zone. Will be those doses big or not so big? We will talk in the end of our today's day.
He immediately leaves for Chernobyl at the head of a scientific delegation.
We hoped they would be able to evaluate the situation quickly, but for the first couple of days, they weren't able to tell us anything. It was a dramatic situation. We'd be in session, waiting for information. We were demanding information.
At the bottom of the reactor, 195 tons of nuclear fuel are still burning, giving off incredible heat that is gradually melting the sand. On the surface of the plug, cracks begin to appear. And scientists from every Soviet republic
Comparing it with human influence. And my friends, why Soviet Union decided to build one of the biggest and biggest nuclear power plant in the world here on this area? There were a few reasons. First reason was low density of population. Of course, they were not thinking about some technogenic accident, technogenic catastrophe, but they were thinking about nuclear war or any kind of war, and during the war nuclear objects are first targets of your enemy. So that's why they decided to put nuclear power plant on the territory with low density of population. Second thing was huge amount of water, because reactor is like a big kettle which is boiling water, but it also produces extra heat, and you must cool that reactor, and for that purpose you need a huge amount of water. For example, for cooling reactor number 1 to such small village hospital, and could give some treatment in not complicated cases. Of course, if something was serious or more complicated, he was sending people to the normal hospital. Actually, we may get inside there.
Tastes like iron. Actually, it smells kind of like. Do you remember during George Washington time? It's like, yeah, like kind of like dusty. Kind of smells like conditioner to me. Oh, conditioner. What conditioner do you smell?
Работать эффективно с помощью отдачи сил.
This was a hospital.
But if we would be stubborn, and if we would decide to go and check, second military patrol was not so friendly. They had even permission to shoot illegal trespassers. As, my friends, you understand that no one will secure abandoned children's summer camp like this, because place that was marked on those maps as a summer camp, in fact, was one of the most top secret objects in Soviet Union with the name Chernobyl 2. By the way, even the name Chernobyl 2 was a part of cover plan, because that's how Soviet government was naming their military towns or top secret towns. They were just taking the name of nearest more or less big settlement and added a number of an existing post office. For example, in Chernobyl was only post office number one, only one post office. So if you will see, for example, some letter or some postcard where it will be written Chernobyl 2, you will think that it's post office number 2 of the town of Chernobyl. But in fact, all the mail that was going with this mark Chernobyl 2 was stored in Chernobyl and was brought here.
Oh yeah, you gotta take that.
Є достатньо потужний, так. Але тим не менше достатньо території відновлювати не можуть, тому переважно от забруднення зони на сьогоднішній день носить такий плямистий характер. Тут лежить, наприклад, потужна частинка, яка там в радіусі 5 метрів щось опромінює, далі все набагато.
Слушайте, ну дуга, этот объект, конечно, вообще что-то такое. Просто мега крутое. Такое ж построить, блин. Сейчас столько историй связано с этим местом. Забавно. Короче, наверное, самый крутой памятник холодной войны. Вообще круто смотрится. Так построено на века, что никогда не разрушится, походу. Офигеть. Воздух классный. Правда, заросло здесь все, но воздух классный. Здорово. Ну, классно, в смысле, из того, что я вижу. Наверняка что-то и не классное в этом воздухе есть. Особенно рядом с таким объектом, который фонит, наверное, как не знаю что. Жесть, конечно. Ну, красиво, красиво. Мощно. HBO.
It was idea to build about, like it was a project about 8 reactors, but somebody tell even about something like 12 reactors for the future. So this huge tower, which you can see, it was a cooling pond. They supposed to work for reactors number 5 and 6, and the idea was like this. they supposed to pump the water onto the middle of it. Then on special radiators, water was going downstairs. The wind was cooling it, going from the bottom to the top. And after it, cooled water was absorbed in the special pond and going back to the reactor to cool down the system. This one cooling tower was unfinished, next to it one more unfinished, and rusty building next to it supposed to be reactor number 5. This reactor, they had no chance to finish. It's supposed to be a part, to become a part of electricity system of Soviet Union in the end of 1986. Please don't make pictures of drive away. And right now in front of us appeared Chernobyl nuclear power plant with all its facilities, all the reactors. Just a couple words I will tell you about what exactly we can see here, and you will have a chance to go outside for making pictures of Soviet Union in 1977. Right next to it, the same black box with rusty pipes over there. It was unit number 2. It was inserted into electricity system in 1978. Next to it, building looks like a house with a rusty roof, unit number 3, 1981. And covered with a new safe confinement, unit number 4, 1983. So it was 3 years old only when explosion happened. Those two first, they were units of first generation. Rusty pipes, which you can see in front of them, were used to remove the overpressure from the system. But then scientists understood that this overpressure, when it's removed from the reactor, it can be contaminated. This air, the steam, it can be contaminated. That's why for reactors number 3 and 4, for second generation, they made a little bit different system. Instead of those pipes, they made a special barbator pool underneath, under the active zone. Who have seen HBO TV series, raise your hands, please. Okay, almost everyone. Do you remember the scene when divers were going underneath to remove the water? So they were going into that barbator pool. All the reactors were switched off after accident, but reactors number 1, 2 and 3 continued work after. I will tell about it more detailed a little bit later. Now you have a chance to go downstairs to make some photos. From this area we can make the closest panoramic photos. Please don't cross the fence and be really careful on the road. You have 5 minutes here and then we go ahead. Building, it was exactly the turbine hall for the power plant. Number 1 and 2 in the end of the year, and in the end of 1987 they switched on reactor number 3. Dear friends, right now we're really close to the power plant and I will ask you to hide your phones.
Evacuated, it was created special authority with the name Complex. What's happening with drones when nobody is, or in few years it will take on, you will have it all from the software. By secret security, the same time the company is party, what one activities for adults and for children to spend their leisure. It was theatrical studio, it was big concert hall. There were a lot of activities. For example, here in this house of culture, it was even movie production studio. A lot of movie production studio where children and adults were taught how to work with cinema, tape, or even with videotape. Yes. And this Palace of Culture was divided into parts. Part which is close to us was more cultural, but part which is behind was volleyball playground, a covered volleyball playground, a tennis court, walking ring, and small swimming pool there. Because on one was the symbol of Soviet Union, another was the symbol of Soviet Ukraine. And so, 16 floor buildings in Pripyat appeared even
Should be third fastest growing or something like that.
Oh, third best growing.
Something like that, yeah.
And my friends, the Lenin Prospect, the Lenin Avenue that we just entered, Pripyat through it. Before the accident, it looked like this. Yes, we were moving to Pripyat through this part of the road. So don't be afraid, this dog is very friendly. But my friends, one more thing I want to show you. One more hotspot. Yes. But I will borrow Geiger counter. Sorry. So, what's here in this? Because I have the same, but out of battery. It's very accurate Geiger counter. So, about 1.3 microsieverts per hour is here. What is on yours? But it will recalibrate. I think that it will recalibrate in a minute. Yeah, it's less. It's now less. You see, it's falling. Yeah, it was somewhere there a hotspot. But I'm getting closer here. What's happening? 1.2, 1.4 in the air, yes. But I'm just taking it closer here. And what's happening? 83. Oh my God. 181. Yeah. What's happening? You see, 62, 86. It's just gamma radiation. It's just gamma without beta. 192 gamma radiation. And now I'm opening a special window just for beta radiation, to check beta radiation. And what's happening? 275, 550, 800, 1000.
No, I can believe. What?
1083, okay, 1098, 1130, you see. Like young Donald Trump, maybe there is some similarity. But he appeared here before Donald Trump became president. Okay, now my group of you1, please. We are moving in this direction. Be careful here. Only good things. Remarkable thing here is that this.
No, the 9-month-old. The 9-month-old kid. One of them, like, full increasing up. You see the 14, you see an area.
That's where there was like a little hidden room. Light in it, yeah.
Social push, a lot of people, a lot of specialists. They changed the field of the industry from nuclear energy to other type of energy, heating electric power plants. We're not taking some pressure things for them because they thought that in 3 days they will come back, yes, and everything will be okay. Any electronic devices service, sewing, some sewing factories, some, I don't know, furniture repair, some hairdressing, chemical cleaning, laundry, all of this was here in this big service center. Night duty, night shift, and he had never come back because after as possible, make dust reduction procedures. We've done opposite. Wait for me, don't go anywhere.
All right, everyone. group picture are we getting out of this? You guys supposed to